Hello there, Mia Gradney here with a look at what's making headlines in Houston, starting with the remarkable story of two young 911 dispatchers. They were on duty when raging floodwaters barreled through the Texas Hill Country last 4th of July. They answered hundreds of frantic calls for help, many from people literally clinging to life. And as Jeremy Rogowski tells us, these first responders somehow managed to remain calm.
On the Guadalupe River, all was quiet when they clocked in for their overnight shift at 5:30.
Nothing was ever to prepare anybody for this.
Riley Gordon and Samantha Dixon McCurry
is just overwhelming.
Had no idea what was coming in the hours of stormy darkness ahead.
Drop of a hat, it went from nothing to something in a matter of seconds.
Clark County 911.
Something unfathomable.
What's the location of the emergency?
And unforgettable.
My house is flooding! I can't go anywhere!
But I'm running out of space! I need help!
We're going to die!
A torrent of emergency calls poured in after 3 a.m.
The 911 ringtone would not stop.
And for the first hour until other dispatchers arrived, Riley and Samantha were alone.
I could hear the water breaking windows. I could hear it rushing. I could hear the panic. I could hear the cries. Like, I could hear all that.
The water's already up to the 3rd floor. I can't get out!
Our RV is flooding, we're gonna drown.
It was so loud that, like, you couldn't hear yourself think.
Samantha, an out-of-towner who grew up in Pearland, had just finished her training 3 weeks earlier.
You were thrown into the fire.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one of my supervisors said I was thrown straight into the deep end.
Which call do you remember the most?
The call that I remember the most, that like messed me up the most, was a gentleman that was out in Hunt.
I'm getting cold now.
Okay, I understand that. Just keep fighting, okay?
I think there's more water coming in through the window. It's getting up to my shoulders now.
The water's to my shoulders, and I'm very cold. And that was the last thing that he said to me, and I didn't talk to him again. So it left me wondering for a long time if he lived or if he died, and I didn't know.
Samantha would learn 2 months later that man did in fact survive. But for many others, they would never know. With so many calls in the queue during those chaotic early morning hours, they were not able to stay on the line for long.
At some point, you had no other choice than to disconnect.
We had to, reassure them, help is on the way. We're getting it here as fast as we can. I have to disconnect to answer the next phone. That's just how we had to do it.
It wasn't easy.
It was not easy at all.
All told, Kerrville dispatchers answered nearly 500 911 calls the morning of July 4th, more than 100 of those in the 4 a.m. hour alone.
I have it tattooed on me.
Samantha inked the numbers on her arm.
It was my way of grieving. So I have a little reminder of it on me.
A reminder to never forget. 1 year later, as the serenity of the Guadalupe slowly returns, their grief endures.
I think that's the hardest part, is all the kids who passed during the event. It'll forever stick with you.
It's hard to be able to not feel guilty, because sometimes it feels like I didn't do enough. Even though I did my job, I did it to the best of my ability, it feels like it wasn't enough, especially with each person who lost their life.
Jeremy Rogowski reporting on a couple of heroes in our book. Jeremy, thank you. Now to the driver behind the wheel of the Tesla that crashed into a home in Katy. He is facing charges. Here's Agochi Aloka with those details.
45-year-old Michael Butler is charged with manslaughter after crashing his Tesla into a Katy area home, killing 76-year-old Martha Evelia. Butler is also facing a lawsuit filed by Evelia's family, accusing him and Tesla of causing the death of their loved one.
Michael Butler.
Now, Michael Butler, seen here, was appearing in probable cause court this morning, where a judge set his bond for $150,000. If Butler makes bond, he's not allowed to drive his car and will be ordered to wear an ankle monitor. Butler claims his Tesla was on autopilot when his car was speeding through the Katy area neighborhood and crashed into the home. But Tesla's vice president of AI posted on social media that vehicle data showed Butler pressed the accelerator to to 100% and reached a speed of 73 miles per hour before the crash. Now, the lawsuit filed by Evelia's family alleges Tesla's driver assistance technology and the actions of the driver both contributed to the crash that killed the 76-year-old. Evelia's daughter was in the backyard when Butler rammed through the front of her home, killing her mom.
I don't know if it's his fault or is it the car's fault or like what really happened. I've never seen a car go that fast. He didn't deserve to go that way. He was the best grandma, the best mom. The loss is going to be very hard.
Very heartbreaking there, and the Harris County Sheriff's Office says investigators have found no evidence as of now of a mechanical malfunction, but stress the investigation remains ongoing. In the newsroom, Ugochi Iloka, KHOU 11 News.
A new AI-powered hologram is now helping travelers at Bush Airport and could soon become much more common. Michelle Choi put it to the test. She shows us just how well it works and what it could mean for the future of travel.
Sure. What do you need help with?
Sitting inside Bush Airport's Terminal E international arrivals, this AI-powered hologram is hard to miss.
The white light means like she's thinking, and we have it here.
Dr. Fernando de la Peña leads Houston-based Exa Aerospace, the company behind the technology.
So it's a combination of a holographic interface and AI. So essentially it creates the illusion that there's a person there that can see you, hear you.
It answers questions about flights, gates, and more. Developers say once fully rolled out, it'll support 88 different languages.
I'm going to try out this technology myself. Let's see how it goes. Can you help me find the nearest restroom?
The nearest restrooms in Terminal E are located throughout the terminal.
It still needs a lot of work, but that's what the creators say they're going to be doing over the next 90 days.
And while the technology still needs fine-tuning, its origins are pretty extraordinary. It was first used with NASA in 2021 to connect astronauts in space with medical teams on Earth.
When people, especially international visitors, are coming, the first thing that they see is these Oculus and the AI and say, okay, I'm in Houston, I'm in the future, I landed.
Many visitors we spoke with
Flight Turkish Airlines 133 has been landed.
Say they'll gladly use it.
Whenever we leave problem or need any information, we can just come here and ask it. Perfect. I love it.
But not everyone agrees.
If you had a choice between this hologram and then a staff member, who would you go to?
Probably a staff member. Again, it depends on the question. Human interaction is definitely still something that should be desired.
One big question we asked, could AI replace human workers? In a statement to KG11, Houston Airport says the goal is to supplement customer service, not replace staff.
This one is not going to take jobs, it's going to help people.
If the pilot succeeds, Exa plans to place 20 holograms at Bush and 4 at Hobby. In Houston, Michelle Choi, KHOU 11 News.
The future is now. And with that, that's a wrap of your Houston headlines. I'm Mia Granny.
I'm Isis Romero, and this is the news in San Antonio. Body-worn camera video shows Bexar County deputies desperately bashing a car window to rescue a 4-month-old baby that was left in a hot car. The sheriff says the child is okay, but the incident is a wake-up call, especially as we head into a long, hot holiday weekend. Sue Kalberg has life-saving reminders.
Hey Siri, what's the current temperature? Siri says 90. The thermometer says 110. It just takes a few minutes for a thermometer to give you dangerous data. Hot cars just don't mix with kids and pets. It's a reminder that became painfully obvious June 19th at a far west Bexar County apartment complex on Highway 90 West. The video shows deputies in a race to save a life, bashing in a window.
Deputies responding to a call discovered a 4-month-old child locked inside a vehicle with the windows up during hot and humid conditions. Unable to determine the child's condition and knowing every second mattered, deputies used a baton to gain access and safely rescue the infant, who thankfully was not injured.
It's a trend they hope to avoid. Just the day before, another incident with a deadly result. This time in far east Bexar County at Foster Road.
Deputies investigated another heartbreaking case involving a dog that had been left inside a parked vehicle for an extended period during temperatures in the upper 90s.
Salazar said bystanders tried to intervene, but the dog didn't survive. Court records indicate 35-year-old Damaris Herrera Aguilar has been charged with animal cruelty, non-livestock. Salazar says you shouldn't wait for somebody else to call 911 when you can save a life yourself. He says every case involving a child or a pet should be considered an emergency. Sue Calberg, KENS 5.
A man has been arrested for allegedly setting fire to his own home, then trying to get into the neighbor's house using a blowtorch. The Bexar County Sheriff's Office says the incident happened Wednesday morning on Manda Drive on the northeast side. Witnesses told deputies 43-year-old Jorge Medina Ibarra set fire to a home he shared with others, then used a blowtorch to try to burn through a window at a nearby house. Witnesses say Ibarra then tried to smash his way through a window. The person living there tried to stop him, but he allegedly slashed the victim's arm with a knife. A woman inside tried to get kids out of the house, but deputies say Ibarra attacked her. He's now facing several charges. Both victims are expected to be okay. The 4th of July is a time for celebration, but accidents can turn your holiday into horror. As Jeremy Baker reports, as long as you play it safe, you have no reason to fear the festivities.
Many people plan to celebrate over this long holiday weekend, but those celebrations are also a high time for bodily injuries, and there are many hazards you need to keep a lookout for this Independence Day. Starting with safety around the grill, especially with kids around.
Please make sure that you keep them safe away from the grills, the open flames. If you're not using your grill, please close the top so that children don't inadvertently put their hands on top of them and burn.
Even though we are getting used to the heat with so many outdoor activities around this weekend, you need to look out for the signs of heat illness.
They can become dizzy, pale, diaphoretic, just not acting right, or they're just kind of dry, their mouth's a little bit dry, lips a little bit dry. Always drink some water.
Every year, over 10,000 Americans visit emergency rooms because of firework injuries. And even these sparklers that kids love can be dangerous with temperatures over 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit.
The little sparks fly and it can cause these little micro burns on the skin for a lot of children. So they are very, very dangerous.
The National Fire Protection Association says sparklers account for about 30% of firework injuries for children under the age of 5. And the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission says 65% of firework injuries actually happen to bystanders.
I think I'm Team Bootylicious too. I think it's like the perfect size as well.
Hey Roxy, just make sure the whole thing is spent and douse those big guys with water to make sure they are out.
Give it a good minute to 2 minutes before you try to approach the firework to make sure that it has fired all its shots and it is safe.
Experts also say to avoid excessive drinking, not just for your health but your safety too, especially if you are hitting the highways this holiday. From the city's northwest side, Jeremy Baker, KENS 5.
As fireworks light up the night sky over the holiday weekend, the brilliant colors aren't just for show. They're all thanks to chemistry. Meteorologist David Guerrero explains how these colorful explosions come to life.
Every burst of color starts long before the fuse is lit. Inside each firework are tiny pellets called stars. They're packed with different chemical compounds that create the dazzling display we see overhead. When the fireworks explode, the intense heat excites the atoms inside those chemicals. As the atoms return to their normal state, they release energy in the form of colored light. Different elements produce different colors. Strontium creates deep reds, barium produces green, copper compounds make blue, while sodium creates bright yellow. Calcium adds orange, and combinations of metals can create purples, silvers, and golds. Creating vivid colors isn't as simple as mixing chemicals together. Blue is especially difficult because copper compounds have to reach just the right temperature. Too hot and the blue can wash out. Firework makers spend years perfecting their formulas to produce bright, consistent colors. Designing fireworks is both science and art. Manufacturers carefully arrange the stars inside the shell so the explosions form specific patterns, from simple circles to hearts, rings, and even smiley faces.
So the next time you're watching fireworks fill the sky, you're not seeing an explosion, you're watching chemistry paint the night with light. I'm meteorologist David Guerrero, KENS 5.
And that's the news in San Antonio.
Hello, I'm Bill Taylor. 'Tis the season of Texas heat, and we've got to remember our pets and take care of them with extra water. Make sure they're inside in the afternoons. I've got an outside dog. He loves our backyard, but this time of year, he's inside by noon, and I don't put him back out there till about 7 or 8 p.m. All right, so here's the deal on walking your dog. If you can put your hand down on that pavement for at least 5 seconds, is the 5-second rule, then it's okay to walk the dog on that pavement, at least 5 seconds. Sometimes some will say use the back of your hand, because it's just a little more sensitive to that heat. But you've got to wait that 5 seconds. Look at these numbers. I mean, we're hitting 85 degrees in most Texas cities by noon at the latest, right? 105 on concrete, 130 on asphalt, 91, 125 to 140, 97 is a pretty common high around most of Texas this time of year, 145 to 150 on asphalt. That's incredible. Skin damage can occur within 1 minute. That's how quick. So make sure it's on grass. Also, consider time of day. I mean, maybe 6 to 7 a.m., 9 to 10 p.m. Those are some good walk hours. High pressure is centered way east of us, but it still has a good impact on Texas weather. And you'll notice that we see it loosen its grip, tighten its grip. So there'll be some opportunities for some rain, but we're not looking at anything too blockbuster. Let's take a look at the next 7 to 10 days, and you'll notice that most of the state is going to be right at average, which is not much. I mean, in July, we don't expect a whole lot of rain, but notice it's just really this, I'll call it a fifth of the state that shows the green, which is just slightly above average. All right, let's push forward on the futurecast and see what we've got through Thursday and into Friday morning. Notice that we're keeping most of the activity across East Texas. Houston has been the hot spot for some good onshore flow and some scattered thunderstorms there. As we head into the 4th, good news that the forecast has really improved. Last couple of days, we've seen some decent rain coverage on the 4th. But now Saturday at 10, high-resolution data showing us that we are just about dry from Amarillo to Brownsville. Good news there. As we work our way to Sunday, Monday, scattered areas of rain. We've got a disturbance that could be forming a little bit of a low in the Gulf. Nothing tropical, but that could bring in some rain on the upper Texas coast. It won't be much. Rainfall totals over the next several days are still well below average, with only about a ½ an inch expected in some spots. And again, that's about a 7 to 10 day forecast. Let's look at our extended forecast for the next several days. Wednesday, Thursday, going to populate in front of your very eyes. So let's focus on Friday, Saturday first. 101s at McAllen. Those will be the hot spots, as well as El Paso. Notice at 93 at Corpus Christi with that sea breeze won't be too bad. I'm not seeing many rain chances. Really not until Monday do we see a few around Houston, Lubbock, as well as Corpus Christi. So as far as the holiday weekend's concerned, Texas is looking good just about in every direction. That is very good news. So keep that in mind as we're pushing forward. And if you're heading down to the Texas coast, here's a coastal forecast on the seas. We're looking at a slight chop of protected waters at Rockport, Port Aransas, and you'll notice that water temperatures 87 to 88. That is just about right. That is a comfortable water temp. It does look warm, but I promise you that is just about right. All right, have a happy 4th of July weekend. From Texas News Now Weather, I'm Bill Taylor.
Hi, I'm Cindy Eizaguirre with a look at your headlines from across North Texas. A lot of parents can't pursue a better paying job because affordable care is hard to find for their children. Brittany Costello shows us how a program in Fort Worth is helping them solve both problems at the same time.
Playtime is an easy part of the day for Elizabeth Herrera and her 4 children.
You're my little chef.
Herrera is a single mom.
Yeah, we need some more food.
She says putting real food on the table and paying bills is hard to do.
I just try to make it day by day.
She can't afford childcare, so she can't work. But Fort Worth's Center for Transforming Lives started a new workforce pilot for moms like her.
Our entire goal is to disrupt the cycle of poverty.
CEO and President Carol Klosick says the families they work with average just $18,000 a year.
Their number one barrier is childcare. The second barrier that is most common is cost.
Herrera is 10 weeks into a new pharmacy tech certification program. While she's learning, the center watches her children for free.
As a mom, I want more. I want more and mostly doing it for them.
Herrera is one of 20 women in the course. 4 others are getting their forklift certification.
Entry level income is at least $45,000. They can work full time and they can have benefits for themselves and their families.
The pilot is just the beginning.
They have big plans to turn this entire building into a workforce institute with childcare. They are hoping to get started on that late next year.
Herrera is hoping by that time she will be working as a pharmacy technician.
But he was still hungry.
Not only to provide a better life for her children,
I hope it's something for them to say, oh, she didn't.
But to teach them it's never too late to dream big.
They want a house, a big yard. So yes.
And you're determined.
Oh yeah. It's always I think that's gonna be the main goal.
In Fort Worth, I'm Brittany Costello.
It is gearing up to be a busy 4th of July weekend, and Dallas City leaders say they're not taking any chances. Richard Solomon shows us the new safety plans and the warnings going out ahead of the holiday weekend.
As many of us prepare for the 4th of July weekend,
preparations for this weekend did not begin yesterday.
Dallas safety leaders, they want to make sure it ends with memories, not emergencies.
If you shoot a bullet in the air, it has to come down. We don't want any accidents or anything that you would not even want to happen.
For the first time, DPD Chief Daniel Como says the city will have multiple highway and road closures during fireworks shows. They're shutting down streets near Fair Park on Friday ahead of the fireworks show planned there. And on Saturday from 9 to 9:30, they're closing down all lanes of Woodell Rogers Freeway for the show at Clyde Warren Park.
We will have an increased presence on the streets in these upcoming days.
And this is the reason why. This past New Year celebration, people turned this bridge into a parking lot, while others fired off round after round of bullets.
That's why we're here today. We're letting them know it's not going to happen again.
Dallas police say fireworks are 100% illegal within city limits, and that is something that they will, of course, be enforcing this weekend. And while there's a safety plan for us,
This is Duke, he's 1 year old.
there's also one in place for our furry friends.
So a simple, fire boom to you may be entertaining, but it's terrifying to the pets.
Jennifer Smith with Dallas Animal Services says more dogs run away during the month of July than any other month. And here at the shelter on Saturday, they're holding its annual Calming with Canines event, where volunteers can spend time with the dogs during the evening. This weekend should be fun for everyone, and they're going to make sure that's all that happens. In Dallas, I'm Richard Solomon.
The World Cup is giving millions of international fans their first look at Dallas Stadium, and a lot of them are leaving in awe. This afternoon, Kevin Reese introduces us to the architect behind the iconic venue.
When Dutch social media star Bernard Gronhoff walked into Dallas Stadium for the very first time, he couldn't believe his eyes. In the Netherlands, he'd never seen anything as grand as this.
It was amazing. And when I walked up to it, it felt so gigantic and like another world almost.
A reaction that brought Brian Truby to tears. Have you seen that?
I have. It can be emotional to see it.
Emotional because Brian Truby is the lead designer for AT&T Stadium, the guiding force behind what Jerry Jones wanted to be the grandest stadium in the world, and the lead designer for SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles, both hosting FIFA matches to rave reviews.
And so seeing all that play out is super rewarding.
But FIFA was not an afterthought. Truby designed both stadiums with a soccer pitch in mind, and with the ability to install a raised natural grass field, and stadiums to be centerpieces of larger entertainment districts. FIFA and the Arlington Grand Prix, just the latest proof of that success.
But now with everything being kind of there and in the center, we're ambitious on what's to come and what we can do in the future as well.
The Dallas Stadium has received so many rave reviews that writers from New York have questioned why Dallas, instead of New York, isn't hosting the FIFA Finals match. The designer of this sports palace isn't worried about that.
I think, we're crying all the way to the bank here. We have more games than, anybody else. So I think the benefits, have been extraordinary for our whole region here.
With the whole world watching, the house that Jerry and Brian built. In Dallas, I'm Kevin Reese.
We'll talk about a moment you'll never forget. A 10-year-old boy from Waxahachie was selected as one of the player escorts for a World Cup match in Houston. Scoop Jefferson shows us how Roman Johnson parlayed his love of soccer into an experience he'll never forget.
Roman Johnson is in love with soccer.
When I first played soccer, it felt like it was perfect for me.
And even has his own strategy on controlling the ball.
First, I just close my eyes, breathe, and remember where I think the ball would be.
At age 10, Roman has already racked up years on the soccer field.
How old were you when you first started playing?
4 or 5.
So nothing excited the Waxahachie fifth grader more than learning some of the World Cup games would take place in Texas, except learning this from his mother.
He was chosen out of 1,000 kids to be one of the kids that were chosen to be a player escort.
That's thanks to his dad winning a lottery pick at work for the Japan versus Brazil game at Houston Stadium. That opened the door to Roman escorting Japan star player number 14, Jinya Ito, to the soccer field, an unforgettable feeling.
It felt like a whole different thing to do besides FIFA. There were millions of people.
Roman also got to hang out with other young soccer fans at Houston Stadium. His love for the game stems from his mom's years of coaching soccer.
I've played soccer club and select for a long time, and so I've loved soccer, so I'm not new to FIFA.
When asked which team he's keeping his eye on and why.
Brazil, Japan, Argentina.
Roman says he hopes to play professional soccer one day and knows that means more practice and hopefully his own World Cup game in the future. In Waxahachie, I'm Scoop Jefferson.
And that's a look at your headlines from around North Texas.
Hello from Austin, I'm Mark Mullins. A woman is now facing a murder charge after police found a man dead inside a home in southeast Austin on June 24th. Sierra Rodriguez is charged with murdering 74-year-old Michael Shelton. Investigators believe she stabbed him multiple times. At this point, they haven't said whether the suspect and victim knew each other. A friend found Shelton's body when he went to check on him at his home on Lambs Lane. Rodriguez was booked in the Travis County Jail Thursday afternoon. Crews have been spraying for mosquitoes in parts of Williamson County ahead of the 4th of July holiday. This comes after health officials detected West Nile virus in a mosquito trap last week. KVU's Jose Alonso has more.
While families enjoy the outdoors, a viral disease is lurking within tiny bloodsuckers in Williamson County. These Taylor, Texas kids have to deal with them constantly.
Whenever I'm at my friend's house, it's at night, and he has a lot of mosquitoes. So it always bites me on my legs. So I always itch all the time.
Williamson County has detected mosquitoes testing positive for West Nile virus in Cedar Park, Georgetown, and Hutto. As the city of Taylor prepares for its annual 4th of July celebration at Murphy Park, it's hired a company to spray mosquito-reducing chemicals overnight.
The Williamson County and City's Health District is extremely focused on public health and are ensuring that all the activities that they do when it comes to managing mosquitoes are using chemicals that are perfectly safe for human beings, as well as pets, because we know that's extremely important.
They're going to be spraying tonight to help kind of mitigate that population of the mosquitoes out here. What are your thoughts about the city taking that action?
That's actually, I appreciate that a lot because I have a whole lot of little brothers that I really don't like them going outside because sometimes they get bit up so bad and then they're complaining that, it itches.
The Williamson County and City's Health District's public health entomologist, Jason Fritz, confirmed they are seeing more mosquitoes due to recent rainfall. In a statement, he says, quote, whether you're a resident or visiting the area, use an EPA-registered insect repellent and wear light, loose-fitting clothing when spending time outdoors. Be especially mindful at dawn or dusk when mosquitoes are most active. Wearing repellent is not ideal for these energetic kids, but they still do it.
I hate putting alcohol and mosquito spray on stuff. Well, after they bite me and it burns.
How many times do you feel like you get bit a day?
Almost 30, 40 times.
As the city prepares to celebrate America's 250th birthday, residents are hopeful they won't suffer while being outdoors. In Taylor, Jose Alonso, KVUE News.
City officials want to know if they have ponds or waterways with still water, they can contact the county to treat those areas. An Austin police officer has pleaded guilty to 2 speeding charges after investigators say he caused a multi-vehicle crash while responding to an emergency call. Officer Daniel Robert Kessler Jr. entered the guilty plea on Thursday in Travis County Court. That crash happened in January of last year when Kessler's patrol vehicle collided with 3 other vehicles. 2 people were hurt in the crash. Now, under the plea agreement, Kessler will be convicted on both counts and pay the maximum $500 fine for each offense. He is currently on administrative duty. The Republican nominee for Texas comptroller will leave the office ahead of the November election. On Thursday, Governor Greg Abbott appointed Don Huffines to replace acting comptroller Kelly Hancock, who announced his resignation. Hancock won't step down until the end of July. Huffines will face Democratic nominee State Senator Sarah Eckhart from Austin in November. The city of Cedar Park is opening the doors to its new public safety training center. The state-of-the-art facility on Fire Lane will be used to train officers and first responders for years to come. KVUE's Brianna Perez shows us how the department leaders hope to find new recruits.
1 facility, 3 public safety agencies, and 1 goal, helping first responders prepare for the moments that matter most.
Now we have a dedicated space for our officers to utilize for training different types of events and scenarios instead of having to utilize outside departments or different agencies.
Cedar Park's new $30 million facility, which opened in April, brings police, fire, and emergency management training under one roof in Cedar Park, bringing instruction closer to home.
There's times where we have to drive 3, 4, 5 hours for different types of trainings that we need, and now we have the ability to have it right here in our city.
The voter-approved project was funded through a 2022 bond program. It includes a 17,000 square foot training facility with classrooms, office space, and an emergency operations center for managing major incidents, disasters, and large-scale events. It also features a 10,000 square foot building for fitness and hands-on simulation training.
This is our tactical house, so a bunch of different rooms that we can set up in different layouts to mimic a school, a mall, someone's residence. It's the first time we've had something like this before.
Officials say it helps officers become not only faster, but better prepared. Before the facility, police also had limited space for self-defense training.
We'd have to move the desk and chairs out of the classroom and then put down a training mat for all our defensive tactics.
With 12 vacancies in the police department, officials say they hope the new facility will help attract new recruits and better serve the community.
We're able to do a lot more training, so it's only going to benefit us to be better out there on the streets to respond to calls and help our citizens in our community.
And that was Brianna Perez reporting. Officials say they hope the new facility will not only attract more recruits, but also allow the department to eventually train them through its own police academy. 2 artists are in the process of installing 3 beautiful bird sculptures in the airport's new atrium infill as part of its expansion program. The project used community feedback about Austin's love for music and birds to create the new ceiling display. The 12,000 square foot space is expected to open later this summer. Starting on July 1st, food truck owners across Texas begin facing major changes in how their businesses are permitted and inspected. KVUE's Allison Hill spoke with some operators who say the transition is already causing confusion and driving up costs.
For the past 8 years, Josh Sedgwick and Daniel Thomas have owned food trucks in Austin.
It's changed my life just doing it, starting my own business, being able to thrive, make money here locally.
On Wednesday, House Bill 2844, better known as the Food Truck Freedom Bill, took effect, creating a single health permit and inspection for food trucks statewide, instead of requiring one for each city where they operate.
It's supposed to be to lighten up things and make things easier on us, lighten up the restrictions and things. From what I can see right now, it's really not.
Sedgwick says the transition has cost him close to $3,000.
I got a year-long permit 6 months ago. They're telling me that that's not going to be any good anymore. And so I've updated and got this new one. And instead of being grandfathered in and my old one continuing to last, I had to update it and pay the money for the new one.
But both Thomas and Sedgwick say if the growing pains are temporary, the new system will eventually pay off.
I think it'll be worth it, especially if you like to travel like us. So I think it'll be a better opportunity to make a little bit more money, getting your show on the road, letting other cities, find out.
The Texas Department of State Health Services says it has received more than 3,000 food truck permit applications since opening the new application process on June 4th. In Austin, Allison Hill, KVUE News.
The IKEA store at the Domain in North Austin is set to close soon. It's not a full-sized IKEA. It's a smaller store where customers can plan their order and pick it up. The Swedish furniture store recently announced the Domain location will close on August 30th. Officials with IKEA say they made this decision as part of the strategy to build a more affordable, accessible, and sustainable future for IKEA in the U.S. That'll do it for us here in Austin. We hope you have a great day.
I'm Adrian Carbajal. Here are your headlines from Central Texas. More than 2,000 American troops are helping search for survivors following 2 deadly earthquakes in Venezuela. As of Thursday, the death toll has risen to nearly 1,000, but over 3,300 have been injured. 6 News anchor Adriana Alexander spoke with a local 5th grade teacher who, after learning about this situation, decided she's going to do everything she can to help.
More than 2,400 miles may separate Central Texas from Venezuela.
I mean, they have a long way to rebuild.
But one Salado 5th grade teacher says compassion knows no distance.
Obviously you see pictures, you see videos online, and it's awful, but to hear firsthand what these people are going through all the time, it's terrible.
Aoife Schonefeld learned firsthand what it's been like in Venezuela since the back-to-back earthquakes in June.
So my best friend is from Venezuela, and so when this happened, we heard firsthand, what was going on. And I mean, it's just devastating to hear about.
So she took the time to turn her concern into action by organizing a local donation drive for the community to support.
I think medical supplies are the biggest. So like children's Tylenol, children's Motrin, if there's gauze, bandages, anything like that I think is the priority. Towels, sheets, things that people can use for that. But also we've taken a lot of diapers or just like baby clothes.
Schonefeld says the response has been beyond what she expected.
Our community has showed up. It's been awesome.
And each donation will be sent to an Austin area Latin market, Amazonas, that ships supplies directly to Venezuela. The hope is that every donation, no matter how small, helps a family take one step closer to recovery.
It's a great thing to help other people. I mean, that's what we're here for, is to rely on each other, and not just in our community, but also around the world.
Any essential donations can be dropped off at the Salado Public Library to eventually be sent to Venezuela. Monetary donations to assist with this drive can also be made. In other news, we have a new development in a case we've been tracking for months. A judge has ordered for the temporary removal of the Hamilton County Sheriff. 6 News reporter Sidney Walker has the latest on the citizen-filed petition that led to his removal and what's next after months of pushback.
There's a new sheriff in town.
I just feel so vindicated for all those cops and my brother and this whole thing.
Chad Renfro from Hamilton has been waiting months for a change.
I was glad to do it. I was disappointed it probably took so long, but I'm glad the right outcome came.
Renfro filed a petition to remove Hamilton County Sheriff Brad Bolton from office.
So it wasn't like these were unsubstantiated, they weren't vetted. The guy's got 5 felony charges.
He filed it just after Bolton was indicted on 10 criminal charges, including 5 felonies connected to his alleged involvement with counterfeit weight loss drugs in the county.
And I'm the biggest backer of the blue there is. And there's going to be some bad eggs in there somewhere, and somebody's got to take those out.
Renfro wanted to see accountability. He saw firsthand the struggle from his brother.
The fact that it turned so toxic against his department, we saw half of the department leave.
The former sheriff's deputy.
I witnessed this firsthand. I know it's not rumor. It was hard for, I think, a lot of the citizens to peek in and really see the truth behind the allegations.
Renfro cited Texas Local Government Code Chapter 87, which allows judges to remove elected officials for official misconduct or corrupt failure to perform duties.
Actually, the plaintiff in a real case on this. There's penalties if you don't win. I'm willing to go all the way, pay whatever it takes to do this.
A judge found enough legal basis to temporarily remove Bolton.
So it's a good day, very good day.
Now there's a step forward.
That's all we asked for, right? We were pretty simple in our request, is just suspend him while this goes through trial.
And those are your headlines from Central Texas.
Hi, I'm Dan Millay, and here's what's making headlines across East Texas. The skies will roar in Athens this 4th of July weekend as historic military aircraft and aerobatic performers take flight in the 3rd annual Thunder Over East Texas Air Show. CBS 19's Blake Neubauer gives us an up-close look at aviation history while honoring the veterans who flew and maintained these aircrafts.
From vintage helicopters to high-speed flyovers, crews spent Thursday making final preparations at the Athens Municipal Airport ahead of Friday's Thunder Over East Texas Air Show. The event brings together military aircrafts and civilians, giving visitors a chance to see aviation history come to life while learning the stories behind the machines.
The veterans, they get to kind of relive a little bit, bring their grandkids out and say, hey, I used to fly on one of these, or I crewed on one of these, or I was saved by one of these.
For helicopter pilot Doug Jeans, those conversations with veterans are some of the most meaningful moments of every air show. Many recognize iconic aircrafts like the Huey helicopter from their own military service, sparking stories that range from emotional memories to lighthearted moments shared with younger generations.
It's a real privilege to be able to share the knowledge that we have that's been passed on to us, to other people.
While smaller than some of the nation's largest air shows, pilots say that's exactly what makes this event special, giving spectators a closer look at the aircrafts and more opportunities to meet the people who fly them.
It's going to be a great show. One thing that's nice about this show is that it's smaller in size, but it's much more personable.
Organizers say visitors can expect much more than just aircrafts. The show will feature helicopter demonstrations, jet flyovers, aerobatic performances, pyrotechnics, food trucks, and much, much more throughout the evening. Gates open at 3 p.m. Friday at the Athens Municipal Airport, with aircraft displays beginning around 6 p.m. In Athens, I'm Blake Neubauer, CBS 19.
Police officers will be on patrol this 4th of July weekend looking for impaired drivers as holiday traffic increases across the city of Tyler. The Tyler Police Department is increasing patrols through its Selective Traffic Enforcement Program, or STEP, from July 3rd through July 6th. The officers will focus on areas with a history of DWI arrests and crashes, while also increasing enforcement around Lake Tyler. Police say the goal is not to make arrests, it's to prevent tragedies before they happen.
We want people to come out and enjoy the lake. We want people to have a good time, but just know if you have that good time and it includes alcohol, you should not be driving afterwards.
Police say the additional enforcement is meant to discourage impaired driving and remind drivers that planning a safe ride home can help keep everyone on East Texas roads safe this holiday weekend. While we get ready to celebrate our country's independence, it is important to remember it's a stressful time for pets, causing many to run away. In Gregg County, however, there is help available.
Okay, ready? 1, 2. Good. Just like that.
The Longview Animal Care and Adoption Center is offering free microchipping for Gregg County pets. They will be open from noon until 5 p.m. Thursday and Saturday, and you can just walk in, fill out some information, and your animal will be given a chip. Just last week, the shelter had a half dozen animals that were returned to their owners due to their microchip.
We have fireworks, we have individuals going on vacation, visiting friends, much more reason for an animal to get nervous, get scared, take off running, a gate to be open, a door to be cracked, and all it takes is that fraction of a second for an animal to feel fear and then take off running.
George also recommends to bring your animal indoors on the 4th, a place that is secure where they can feel safe and sound. She says to make sure your gates are locked, your doors are closed, and the pet has a collar with your identification on them. And that's a wrap for your East Texas headlines. I'm Dan Millay.
I'm Mike Gillespie in Corpus Christi, and here's a look at some of what's making news in South Texas. Port Aransas is in the heart of its busiest season, and the holiday crowds are delivering a major boost to the local economy. From full hotels to busy restaurants and small businesses, Michael Gibson shows us why tourism leaders say the season is off to a strong start.
Tourism officials here in Port Aransas are overjoyed by the number of tourists they're seeing flocking into town, and that also goes for a lot of the business owners here who've sunk a whole lot of cash into this place to try and attract all of those visitors.
Just a few blocks from the beach along bustling Allister Street, Shanna Hurd welcomes a steady stream of customers into her Cedar Resortwear and Interiors business, where visitors browse for everything from beach fashions to one-of-a-kind coastal gifts.
And how are you doing?
The shop is packed with clothing, jewelry, and home decor. Upstairs and out back, Hurd has also added vacation cottages for guests looking to stay in the heart of Port Aransas. She says the investment is paying off as summer crowds continue rolling in.
We have a lot of great return customers, and the tourism this year is fantastic. We're happy.
The strong summer business isn't just being noticed by shop owners. Tourism officials say the numbers they're tracking show visitors continue choosing Port Aransas as one of Texas's favorite summer destinations.
The month of June is now closed, and we saw spikes in our short-term rental occupancies. Guest nights improved by 5 to 6%. We saw revenue from these guest nights jump anywhere from 10 to 14%.
From long days on the beach to shopping, dining, and cruising around town in golf carts, Port Aransas offers plenty of reasons for families to return year after year. For Caroline Tabor and her mother Pam, the trip from the Dallas-Fort Worth area has become a summer tradition.
More of like family feel here. Like it's close knit. You can go in the stores and you see people that you see year in and year out, and everyone's so friendly.
Tourism leaders say the momentum isn't slowing down anytime soon. Hotel reservations and vacation rental bookings remain strong through the rest of the summer, giving businesses plenty of reasons to stay optimistic. From Port Aransas, Michael Gibson, 3 News.
And of course, many of those holiday visitors are being welcomed by a sea of red, white, and blue. Hundreds of American flags are lining a busy roadway on North Padre Island in celebration of America's 250th birthday. Lexus Green takes us there.
Oh, a lot of hard work.
One by one, volunteers spent the days leading up to America's big birthday, placing 250 American flags along Park Road 22, a project months in the making that brought together veterans and neighbors alike.
We had a lot of support, a lot of guys out here and gals that were pounding in the stakes that we had to have for the flags, and to be able to place all 250 after we made them.
It's not hard out here to get people to participate and to help, and we're very blessed in our community.
The display is part of America 250, celebrating the nation's upcoming 250th birthday. The goal was to sell all 250 flags before Independence Day, and now seeing them wave together is creating an emotional tribute, unlike anything North Padre Island has seen before.
This is like the greatest symbol of our patriotism is our flag, and it just wells up that patriotic pride and that spirit, and that's what this is all about.
That patriotic spirit is already catching the attention of drivers passing by.
People were honking their horns, waving, stopping, and thanking us for doing this.
For Army veteran Stephen Armstrong, every flag is a tribute, not only to those who served before him, but to the generations who will carry that legacy forward.
So we do this for the community, to honor the veterans who came before us, and to honor our future generations as well.
And while the flags honor America's past, organizers hope they also inspire the community to carry that same spirit into the future. Lexus Green, 3 News.
Happy birthday, America. That is a quick look at some of what's making news here. Enjoy your weekend.
And here's your headlines from Southeast Texas. I'm Mark Armstrong. Port Arthur restaurant owners, they are raising concerns about what they say was a lack of communication from the city. Owners, including those at Carmela's, say that they began having water issues Sunday afternoon, but they never received notice or advance notice. 12 News reporter Daniela Deboada-Palau, she spoke to one of several restaurants that closed down after finding out way too late that they had no water pressure in the area.
Water is essential to restaurants. But on Sunday afternoon, one of those affected restaurants in Port Arthur had to work without it.
I started checking all the faucets. There was not the water that usually comes in, and everything started falling apart.
Abarca is the owner of Carmela's in Port Arthur. He says Sunday afternoon he went to check the bathrooms and the toilets wouldn't flush, and then water would not come out of the faucets, presenting a critical issue for the restaurant, one that forced him to shut down that afternoon, losing out on significant revenue.
The numbers that reflected on a regular Sunday for me I was off like $5,000 just for that, particular time.
Abarca, as well as other restaurants surrounding the Central Mall, including Sushi Yuka, say they did not receive any notice from the city about the water line repair until Tuesday. However, the city says, although they didn't send an announcement that Sunday, they did send out messages out on Monday and Tuesday.
We send text messages mainly to when you register an account, you have a phone number. That phone number is part of that blackboard and it goes into the notification system.
Since several businesses claim they did not receive the notification, the city says they're looking into future ways to inform possible bigger businesses.
And one of the things we're going to start doing also, since that was a little bit of a problem for some of the businesses in the area, next time it happens, we can turn around and notify them maybe in person if it's a big business, if it's a hospital.
And that was Daniela Tabuada-Palau reporting. The city says that enrolling in the Stan Alert system is the best way to stay informed about water outages and other service disruptions. And if you did not receive any notice of a water line, we've posted a link to sign up on 12newsnow.com. Well, more expansion is taking shape at Central Mall in Port Arthur, but this time it's not a new store or another business. For the last year, the city has been working with the mall to bring in a new police substation. And Police Chief Timothy Duraso says that not only will the new space allow officers to have an on-site presence, but also more community engagement. 12 News reporter Ebony Coleman reports.
It's great for all the shoppers and the children who come.
While this may look like just another empty storefront at Central Mall, soon it will be home to a new Port Arthur Police Department substation.
We want to be a part of the growth out here.
Police Chief Timothy Duraso says the announcement was made last year.
There was a bunch of legal things we had to go through. We've made it through that, and now we're moving towards a grand opening.
This space is still being outfitted, but soon it'll feature workstations, TVs, and whiteboards for officers assigned to patrol the area.
They'll be able to come in, stretch their legs, talk to the people while they're walking through the mall, and then come into the substation and do their report.
The new space will also make sure calls at the mall are handled on the spot.
Sometimes parents release their kids out here, and they come back to pick them up later. So we'll just be able to monitor that situation a little closer.
Duraso says the department responded to about 60 calls at Central Mall in June, compared to 11 in May, with most involving shoplifting or checking on unattended teens.
That's really not bad for a mall this size that's growing.
Still, having help close by brings a sense of comfort to mall employees like Corrales Vega.
Us as a jewelry store, it's going to make me feel secure. If anything happens or anything, I could go and communicate with them.
Back at the substation, Chief Duraso says it will also welcome residents as a community hub.
We encourage neighborhood groups. We met at our other substation, and so we want to be able to meet out here. As a police department, we should always be accessible to the public.
And those were the headlines here from Southeast Texas.